And if you could, brother, if you would be able to check to see if we live. We good? Okay. All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessing and many salutations unto your elect across the four winds of this earth, pushing this word of sincerity and the truth. Shalom to you believers that are out there that believe in the words of our testimony. All right? We are the Hebrew Israelites. Y'all are Hebrew Israelites except for her. We come in week out to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom America, and also to preach the ushering in of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, whose real name is actually Yahweh Shai, man. In the ancient Hebrew, his name is Yahweh Shai. And we come giving this declaration, and we're letting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans know y'all are Israelites, the Bible speaks of. Y'all are Israelites, man. And we in a time right now where great judgment is getting ready to come. All right? So it would behoove you to repent. Okay? And that's the message that's been declared all the way from old all the way to right now, telling you to repent. All right? And repenting ain't just saying you repent neither. It's an action. You're literally turning your ways away from where you were before. And the only way to truly receive that, it was going to have to come by the mouth of a preacher, man. Okay? Matter of fact, we can hold that for real quick. I'll put Romans the 10th chapter. Going into faith. Because the only way to truly turn away from your old ways, you have to believe the Heavenly Father and His Son. Those true powers that exist. All right? And then it goes from there. But it starts with hearing the word, man. Because you go to these churches, a lot of them talk out of their mouth. Those pastors just talk and sweat. Talk and sweat. They don't come out of the scriptures, man. They ain't telling you the Lord's getting ready to come back. They ain't telling you all this judgment that's about to happen, man. All right? This is the book of Romans, the 10th chapter. And I'm going to start. Hold on. I'm going to start at verse 13. It says, "For whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved." And that even applies to the Israelites there. Now, certain people will say, no, it doesn't. It say whosoever. But Paul was talking to a particular audience right here. And these members were Israelites, exclusively Israelites, man. All right? If they're just certain, if I'm in a room, all right, and I'm talking to a group of people, and it's already directed toward this group of people, I'll say whosoever is talking about that applies to that room. Okay? The Commonwealth already applies to a particular people, man. And that's the thing that Christianity, the world is going to get over their head because they're not meant to anyway, man. All right? The Commonwealth is the Israelites. All right? And I want to establish that point first. And I'm going to jump back to Romans the 10th chapter. It says in verse 14, "How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe on him in whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher?" So right here is going to hearing. Especially in this latter days, the true word of the Heavenly Father was going to come out. All right? Because if you want to really say that's Christianity, man, they've been hearing this same bogus nonsense for hundreds and hundreds of years, man. And ain't nothing happened but children getting raped. More wickedness getting put on the earth under the guise of Christianity. Let's be real. Ever since the true disciples been out on the highways and the hedges, starting with our apostles on down, really starting with Abba Bivens, if you want to get down to the nitty-gritty, things have been happening on the planet Earth, man. And now you see the whole Hebrew Israelite movement, which is what they call, but it's really the believers just waking up, man, because the word is coming out. Prophecy. That's right, bro. That's right. It says in verse 15, "And how shall they preach except they be sent?" You got to be sent from the Heavenly Father, man. You out here in the church with a two-piece suit sweating like a mug saying you sent for the Lord, man, just because you screaming loud as hell, man. Absolutely not. It makes no sense. You ain't telling Jake to repent. These people ain't telling you who the true Israelites are. They'll still put this up in their house, man. Do y'all notice the idol? Just the honest question, you know. Y'all notice the idol? That's an idol. Christmas tree's an idol. The Lord's getting ready to come back, and y'all are Israelites, man. Repent. You know? They ain't going into this in the churches, man. It's a big enterprise of folly, foolishness, and demons, man. Ah, man, get the hell out here, man.
Off, man.
Yeah, man. Just really just going into the kingdom of heaven, the coming of the Lord, chariots out, you know, however the Spirit open for him on the streets.
Oh, man, you know what? That reminded me of, I was thinking about the end of the world. The 13th part, how we always go into the That's what we are right now, man. You see? You want to get that?
Yeah, I was it on that precept.
Yeah, we can get that and then show how it leads into the mark of the beast, and then we can go back home.
Let's get it. Let's get it, man.
Hey, if I can, let me grab this one. It's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 3, and verse 12. It says, "Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, thou backsliding Israel."
And return, that's repent. The prophets always said to repent, man. And they always said to repent and warned them from the judgment that the Lord was going to bring. All right, in Jeremiah, because that's in Jeremiah, right? Yeah, Jeremiah was warning Jake.
Is it 13?
I got second as 14.
Okay, yeah.
Jeremiah was warning the Israelites around that time that the Babylonians were going to come, all right, and seize Jerusalem. But also in particular letters in Jeremiah, it's also going into future prophecy where he's talking about the destruction of Babylon. All right, and even certain Israelites will say that only applies to the ancient Babylonians. Absolutely not. Certain things there obviously do. Okay, but there's prophecies that are in there that go into the destruction of America right here, man. All right, but going into the point, the brother read the precept going into how Jeremiah was telling Jake to repent. He was telling Israel to repent, man. Namely, he was talking about Judah because they were there on that side of the earth at that time. You know?
That's the same thing we're doing now.
That's right. That's right, bro.
It says, "Go and proclaim these words toward the north, and say, Return, thou backsliding Israel, saith the Lord. I will not cause mine anger to fall upon you, for I am merciful, saith the Lord."
And that's the thing about it. He's merciful. We've woken up to the truth. We was in the world, man. We was in the world. Obviously, if we were the elect, it was predestined anyway. But the scriptures talk about how the Most High is long-suffering, man. All right?
Think about it like this. In a movie, right? If we're of the elect, we always say, if we are of the elect, our story was already written.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Any star of the movie, it's already written what's going to happen to him from the beginning of the movie to the end.
That's right.
And he's playing it all out.
That's right.
Same thing with us. If we're those spirits, if we're those first fruits to go all the way back to Genesis chapter 1, John chapter 1, then this what you see right now, not including me driving over here, right? It'll be about my works. It'll be about Sha'an's works, right? It'll be about your works, period, point blank.
Absolutely.
So when you hear about Ezekiel, when you read about Isaiah, those lives were lived by men.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Ezekiel had a wife, but Isaiah had to walk around and prophesy naked. You know what I'm saying? In that time frame, certain things happen to this.
Right.
In this time frame, certain things happen to us, right? But it's all still leading up to the kingdom of heaven.
Right.
But he got his own walk, you got your own walk, I got my own walk, the apostles, everybody got their own walk. Each member of the 144,000, each member of the elect have their own part.
Right.
Just like I was going to call them second Ezra. Just like Ezra, right? It's second Ezra. Second Ezra was talking about, okay, when is this going to happen?
Right.
Can't we just all just get this over with? Can't we just do it now? Right?
Right.
And the angel was like, nah, man, it's broken down into parts like this. This is how it's going to happen.
That's right.
Which gives us a general idea, like how they say our body's going to be changed. We know that our body's going to be changed. We know it's going to go from terrestrial to extraterrestrial.
Right, that's right.
You know it's a celestial body. You know all these different things. I can't tell you what it look like though. But it tell you when we going to know. Right? It says when we see the Lord in his glory, in that state, we going to know that we going to look like him.
That's right.
Right? So it don't tell us how it's going to happen. It just tell us when it's going to happen.
Right.
When you see the Lord come in his glorified state, know that that's for you too. Because we join heirs.
That's right.
Right? But everything is a progression. Go ahead.
It's going into that time period right here. You know, the signs, man. The Lord's showing these signs to show you that we right here, man. This is the book. Matter of fact, can I start a knot?
Yeah, let's get it.
I'm gonna start there first, man. We can establish this point. Shalom, bro. This is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, and I'm gonna start at the top, read the first few, and I'm gonna jump to chapter 14. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 1. It says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made.
See, it's being established that it's going to be phases. Even when you go into the creation, when you get into, I want to say it's Genesis chapter 2, verses 2 and 3. When you get into that, when it goes to where the Lord rests, where it says the angels rested, the Lord and the angels rested, it says the termination. The word termination comes in there. So they terminated their work because everything they needed for that first phase of the creation, all the way up to now, everything that they needed to create had been created. Right. So they stopped their work so that now we can do what we need to do with this creation. After the missiles, after the destruction, when the Lord come back and all that, that's going to be another phase.
That's right, absolutely.
You see?
Absolutely.
But it's all been broken down, right? Just like you got the 7 year, 1,000 years is one day in Peter, 2 Peter, right? Each day is 1,000 years according to the scriptures, right? The Heavenly Father, one day for him is 1,000 years on earth for us, right? So when you get into the creation, each day, right, which the evening starts today, right? People have got that confused. The evening starts today. And what happens is each day is 1,000-year period of the Lord and the angels putting together what you see today.
Right, that's right.
All right?
This is 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 8. But beloved, be not ignorant of this one thing, that one day is with the Lord as 1,000 years.
Right?
And
so
1,000.
when you put that in the context of the creation, and it tells you that the creation was a 7-day thing, then that lets you know that was a 7,000-year period. It lets you know what day man was created, which was the 5th day. Man was created on the 5th day. Life was breathed into Adam on the 6th day. That's when documented history written down with man. Yep. Right? They tell you all these billions and billions of years ago and all this, but they only got 5,000 years worth of info.
That's right. That's right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, all right, Ning. All right.
Yep.
Having said that, right? It lets you know in the scriptures that each day is 1,000 years.
Right.
Right?
In the world, the masses weren't going to believe it when it's ordinary, average men that are telling you this stuff, man. But then a Christian will say that. A Christian will say, well, the earth is billions and millions of years old. But according to the scriptures, it says otherwise, man. You know? Said what? Oh, we got that. I got that hell right here. Yep. This is that was pretty much the point going into that one.
Let me get this real quick. Where it says, yeah, this is Genesis 1 and 4. It says that, and the powers saw the light, that it was good, and the powers divided the light from the darkness, and the powers called the light day, and the darkness he called night, and the evening and the morning were the first day. Right? The evening and the morning were the first day. So that means the evening come first. So when the sun goes down, that's the start of another day. All right? All right, let's go.
Gone. This is back in 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. And I'm going to read verse 3. It says, therefore, when there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. And when you go into that word uproars right there, literally, if you was to type that in, it literally says protests. All right, and that's what you see. And then the previous verse went into, then when you see those signs, the highest is going to be made. Look at all these chariot sightings, man. There's hella chariot sightings. I watched the elder bro, the big bro Barack's video, and there was some chariots coming out of a wormhole, man. Coming out of a wormhole. And these are those signs in heaven, man. I just had to touch up on that real quick. Because, I mean, look at this. This stuff is really happening. Like, this is some science fiction type stuff. That's how the regular person would explain that, man. So these are obvious signs to show you that the Lord is definitely, without a doubt, coming back soon, man. You know? This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 9, verse 4. It says, then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that were before thee.
Right? It says, then you should understand, right? Because you're paying attention to the prophecy.
Right.
The spirit of your house. I get that Revelation 19 and 10 real quick.
Hell yeah.
Get Revelation 19 real quick. Because you got even if you were going the Christian route, right? And you did believe in Jesus, right? It says the spirit of the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Right. But nobody in Christianity is worried about prophecy.
That's right. That's
so even if so you still got to deal with it, right? and the thing is, it's not even about being an expert or nothing like that.
Right.
It's just about having faith enough in what you say you believe in to look into. Right? How you think the Lord's people are going to eat? Because he's giving them constant warnings on how to be prepared when that time comes. Bro, you got people that don't know we at the end of the world.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You got people that don't even have kids yet that think they go see their grandkids graduate. You might have a kid in college right now that ain't going to see graduation. You know? That's just how
things rolling
you got
right now.
eyes, right? You got eyes. You can see what's going on. Well, y'all always been saying this the end of the world. No. The end of the world comes in phases. And the last days started when Yahushua hit the scene 2,000 years ago, man. When that ministry started 2,000 years ago, up until now, that's the last days. And look how much has happened since then, right? Just since we got on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Since the Apostle and Elders put their videos up on YouTube in 07. You know what I'm saying? Back then when we was first coming in, looking at the videos day and night, constantly. From that time to now, the world has changed dramatically.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Like I said, this is one. It was a particular video of Apostle Ramla. They were out on the highways and byways. He was like, look, man, we can't tell you what time and date in particular, but just know these things are happening. And bro, lo and behold, these things are happening. Thousands of people being evicted. Millions upon millions unemployed. Macy's parade used to be blocks and blocks and blocks long. It's a block long.
And all these things, you have to see all these things decrease and continue to decrease to know what's coming. Oh man, I remember back in the day we was able to do this. You're not able to do none of that stuff no more.
Right.
You can't do none of that stuff no more. And put that mask on, damn it.
This is Habakkuk chapter 2, and I'm going to start at verse 2. And it says, and the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables.
Write the vision and make it plain upon tables. That was the Lord get that in Psalm 68. How the Lord said the spirit of the Lord, how he put it on the men to prophesy, to write it down. Great was the company that published it. Yeah, let's get that real quick.
Yeah, write these things.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. And you have to use the book, man. You got all these people trying to predict the end of the world without using the Bible.
Right.
And then the people that are trying to predict the word, try to predict the end of the world with the Bible, they don't have the spirit of truth on them.
Right.
You see? All these things are factors.
Right.
Go ahead.
That's right, bro.
Psalms chapter 68,
11, I think.
and verse 11. The Lord, Yahweh Shai, gave the word. Great was the company of those that published.
That's what I'm saying, man. It says the men were moved by the Spirit to write these scriptures down, man.
Right.
You see? So the things that the Lord put these men to write down, he also brought them back to break it down.
Right.
You see? He brought those same men, those same spirits back to break down these things that were written before time.
That's right.
You see?
That's right. That's why it says in 1 John, it says, I write unto you children, and then it goes, and I write unto you fathers, so you overcome the wicked one. Those children are those fathers.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We're coming right back, like the elder said, and fulfilling that lot.
Revelation chapter 10 and verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations.
And that's what I'm saying. And bro,
kings.
that read it again. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's Revelation chapter 10 and verse 11. And he said unto me, thou must prophesy again before many peoples and nations and tongues and kings.
That's what I'm saying, man. Things that were written down were to be broken down in another time. You see? To prophesy again. Where else would John be prophesying again? Other than today.
Right.
You see? Because the things that John saw what was happening today.
Right.
With the whole microchip and all the microchip, the mark of the beast, that beautiful woman, all those different things that he saw that he didn't understand. Fast forward to today, we're able to understand those things by going back into these prophecies. Right? And you see, it's always a buildup. Right? Just like when we first started saying that the chip was the microchip was the mark of the beast. It was, ain't no microchips. It's June, all this stuff. Where's my dog? Can my dog buy lamb for me? All these different things. Now, it's blatantly in the news that you can buy or sell with this thing. It's going to have this, and this on it. Now you ain't hearing all that. You know what I'm saying? So having that progression, that's what we're talking about. We're focusing on the progression of the prophecies.
Right.
All right. Somebody. Revelation. This is Revelation chapter 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, right? So the angels are subject to the prophecies too. The angels and us. Right. All subject to the prophecies. Go ahead. And of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushua, worship the Most High, for the testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. The testimony, right? Get that word testimony real quick. Get that word testimony in that scripture, right? Because the testimony, so if Yahushua was in court, on trial, right? Who is he defending? He's defending the Israelites. So he's going to put forth his case to the ultimate judge, Yahweh, right? On our behalf. All right? And it said the testimony that he's using is these prophecies that was all written aforetime. Right. Right? That's right. That's what he's going to use. That's how he's going to defend us. He's going to defend us with the prophecies.
That's right.
Let's go.
This is the word testimony in Revelation 19 and 10.
You know why? Because the Lord is the man of his word. The Lord cannot lie. Right? That's why even when we pray, Lord, you said if we repent, you was going to come back. You said that. Right? You can hold him to that. He wanted her that. That let you know, that let him know that you was listening, that you got it. Oh, okay, so when he gets out to the last, to where he ain't got, he know me. He know the couple, yeah, there we go.
The word testimony in the blue letter, this is martyria in the Greek, which you know that goes to the word martyr. This is the definition of that word testimony, testifying, the office committed to the prophets of testifying concerning future events.
Okay, Yahushua is one of those, right? He's the head of that. Go ahead.
One testifies testimony, i.e. before a judge.
Right. Example just given. Go ahead.
Evidence given, judicial or judicial case, record, report, testimony, witness.
That's what I'm saying. And the report that the Lord is going to use to defend us is what was written in this Bible. Right? All right, go ahead. We can go back to Habakkuk. Yeah, Habakkuk, and then
this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 4. It's verse 2. And the Lord answered me and said, write the vision and make it plain upon tables, that he may run that readeth it.
Right, and that's what we're doing. We done ran out to the highways and the byways to report, right, what we learned. If you want to get into the camp, you got Yahushua and the disciples, which is actually a camp, right? You want to go into how you want to read about the camp. You can go to 1st Esdras, chapter 9, starting around 40, and then Nehemiah chapter 8. It goes into what you see with the signs, with the pulpit, the preacher, the readers, the brothers on post, out in the marketplace, the whole bit.
Right.
All right, go ahead.
Right. And when you, if I may, when you go into that run part as well, it goes back to as well, like with like postman or postmate. Like when you go into that was actually a position where people that read letters out in gates, and they were also known for their speed of running. They would have to be able to run fast to go locate the different locations to declare news and stuff like that. And we're spiritually those postmates, like a postman. You know, their job was to go out to those gates and run to different locations and declare that news. So you find it ironic where he says he runneth that readeth it. You know what I'm saying? This is back in Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but the end it shall speak and not lie.
Right, at the end it shall speak and not lie. So when you see the build-up to all these things that were prophesied, you start to know. Right, just like we talked about in class the other day, what was it, in Acts chapter 1, when Peter jumped up and recognized what David had written. He jumped up, he was like, oh snap. He was like, oh snap, that was Judas. You know what I'm saying? Because when the whole thing was going down with Judas, Peter was there. And everybody, when the Lord said one of y'all going to betray me, and he was like, who is it? Everybody was like, who is it? Nobody had an idea that it was Judas, including Peter. But then once the spirit clicked, he was like, oh shit. Right before they brought Matthias in to replace him, Matthias, when they cast lots to see who the next disciple was gonna be, that's when they hit Peter. He was like, oh shit. That's who the King David was talking about. And of course it would be King David and Peter to make that connection. But having said that, that's what happens. And that's what happens today. You see? Like when the spirit jumped on the apostle Elder Tahar, whenever that whole microchip mark of the beast thing was revealed to Apostle Tahar, it clicked. It clicked. And just like Yeshua always say, he like, it's something that we see. It's something that we see that can't nobody tell you nothing else. Right? That's one of those things, and that's how these prophecies they completely consume us, right? And it's because it's a build-up. Right. That's what we have to be consumed with prophecy. We have to be occupied in prophecy before we can get spiritual power and get on the chariot and all those beautiful things. It's a progression. Right. Bring up what you got, bro.
This is 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 37. Therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in a book.
Write all these things that you've seen in a book, right? Referring to a prophet that was in the spirit of the Heavenly Father. When he saw that vision, the angel said, write it down. Write it down. Why is he writing it down? For us. Right. These things were written aforetime for our learning, pursuant to Romans 15:4, right? Right? So that we can, somebody get that real quick. Get that real quick. Finish this right here. Get that in Romans 15:4 to back this up. And we're going to keep rolling through the spirit.
And hide them and teach them to the wise of the people.
Hide them. Teach them to the wise of the people. Right? Everybody don't know the prophecies. If everybody knew the prophecies, then we wouldn't even have to, we wouldn't be here.
That's right.
Right? It was given to a certain group of people. Go ahead.
Right. Whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets.
That's what I'm saying. Whose minds, who can get it in the spirit. Right? And understand it. So that prophecy can be fulfilled. All right, go to Romans 15:4 real quick.
Romans chapter 15 and verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime.
Right. Stop. Read this again.
This is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 37. Therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in a book.
Stop. Read that again.
Romans chapter 15 and 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
Go ahead.
That we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope.
That's where you get that from.
That's right.
That's where you get that from. Read this again. We can finish that up and move to the next point.
This is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 12, verse 37. Therefore, write all these things that thou hast seen in a book, and hide them, and teach them to the wise of the people, whose hearts thou knowest may comprehend and keep these secrets.
That's what I'm saying, man. And that's why in Revelation chapter 1 it says, blessed is he that readeth. Right? In Revelation chapter 3, the Lord said, those that keep my sayings, I'm going to protect you in the hour of temptation. Right? But it got to be a build up to the hour of temptation. Right?
It's got to be in.
I mean, just in that title alone, the hour of temptation.
Right.
How many hours got to happen before the hour of temptation? It's a build up. Let's go, man.
That's right.
Let's go back to the 2nd Ezra.
This is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 9, reading verse 4, it says, Then shalt thou well understand that the Most High spake of these things from the days that went before thee.
That's what, now we get it. Now we see what the Lord was talking about. Right? Through studying and diligence and the Spirit of the Lord, everything is all in here. Now we see.
Right.
And what we out here telling you.
That's right.
You go out and you tell brothers.
That's right. That's right. Even when Yahweh Shai came on the scene the first time, the reason why the disciples knew, we went into this a few weeks ago, the reason why the disciples knew that it was Yahweh Shai when you read it in John is because they studied the scriptures. They studied the scriptures and the prophecies pertaining to Yahweh Shai, man. So going into the day, we know by prophecy, which is written in the scriptures, all right, and it's given to us, you know, we know that the end is manifest. And it's going to say right here.
And was it not, during the time what the brother just described, was it not people walking around the planet that wasn't worried about that at all?
Exactly.
Look.
Right.
Right? All these things were happening while people was just living their lives and but this is what they were doing. Right? The Bible is always about what the Israelites was doing at this time. Right? Bro, don't nobody care about what we're talking about right now.
Right.
But they still subject to all of this. You know?
Yeah. He's stumbling over there and shit.
You know?
He literally stumbling. Hey, the Spirit makes a lot of things happen. The Lord always sends that example. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 5. For like as all that is made manifest in the world had their beginning and an end.
All of it. That's what I'm saying. All of it. Each kingdom, each rulership, each person, each season, all of it. All of it. Go ahead.
It says, and the end is manifest.
And the end is manifest. The end is manifesting itself now.
Right.
Now we can see Esau done enough to bring forth that destruction.
That's right.
Now we can see it. Because a lot of people are like, well, y'all been talking about the end of the day. Now we got nuclear capability. You see, it had to be a build up to that.
Right.
Y'all been saying that's the end of the world. It has been.
Right.
But that's what I'm saying. Now we living in the time to where you can actually get hit with a missile.
Right. Right. No,
Like
bro.
As in, like in the days of Noah.
That's,
Yeah.
I was just about to. That's the spirit.
I got it.
Hey, let's do it. Let's do it.
That's the spirit,
Yeah,
bro.
we just gotta run down the line. Yeah, let's just run down the line.
Same thing, bro. I
Matthew,
knew you was gonna get to.
it's just one verse. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
That's what I'm saying, man. And back then it had never rained.
Right. Right.
Noah telling you it's gonna rain. Telling you it's gonna rain. Telling you it's gonna rain. Nobody never saw it.
Right.
We telling you missiles gonna fly. We telling you missiles gonna fly. We telling you missiles gonna fly.
Yeah.
You saying
Yeah, it's gonna rain fire from heaven.
And it's not like they ain't never seen it before.
You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Bro, this nigga Esau has missiles in a museum, bro. He has nukes, bro. He flaunts them.
Bro, after World War I, it was a rebuilding. After World War II, it was a rebuilding. After World War III, nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Come.
You never should hope that the planet was just gonna blow up after you do what you do. But that's not what's written,
Yeah, exactly.
right?
Exactly.
After every world war, it's a rebuild,
Yep.
right?
Right, bro.
And rulership changes after each one. Period, point blank.
There were some scares in the 60s, man. Everybody just forgot about the fucking, excuse my French, but the Cuban Missile Crisis. Bro, they thought they was gonna be through around that time with John F. Kennedy, bro.
Yeah.
There was a scare. Everybody didn't know if they was gonna wake up the next morning in America, man.
Yep.
So it can get real just like that.
And now just think about that. Think about the build-up of missile talk
That's
from
right.
the
That's
Cuban
right.
Missile Crisis to now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know?
Yep. Yep.
Exactly. It's like, bro, they haven't been building up their military force for no reason. They don't have a space. They don't have a space force for no reason.
Right.
Because they know what time it is, bro. The USSR, Ahmadinejad, when he was over there or whatever he's doing in Iran, they not getting allies together just to kick it.
Right.
The build up, like the elders going into, the build up is for a reason.
Right.
The build up is gonna be a final say so,
It
man.
talks about the nations burning the whore. And it's a build-up to that. We in the time where the nations can burn the whore. That's the time we living in. You see? What was you had something over here? You was holding your didn't you?
Yeah, just the Matthew. He was already in
Yeah.
Matthew 24.
Yeah.
Just the wars and rumors of war.
Yeah, there we go.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Bro, just think about that. Even when you heard a rumor in school about it being a fight at the end of the day, you heard it in the morning. Such and such gonna fight at the end of the day. At the end of the day, them niggas will fight.
Absolutely.
It's a build up to that shit. You know what I'm saying? One nigga get scared, one nigga get brave, one nigga all these things are happening leading up to 3:30.
That's right.
Right? Go ahead, bro.
Everybody
You know what I'm saying?
out.
You find out your girl pregnant. It's a build up to that baby come.
Right.
Right?
That's right.
It's a build up. Oh, we saw. Well, first you got the conception, then you find out, then you happy or whatever it is, then you go through the stages of the pregnancy. You know what I'm saying? You taking care of her, she complaining, the whole thing, blah 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 blah. It start to hurt more and more. Blah 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 blah. Next thing you know what I'm saying? You walking with your son to the mall. It's a build up.
Right. I just got a real quick one.
Go ahead.
Because the measurements, when you read this in Wisdom of Solomon 12, this is going into the judgment of the Canaanites, but the buildup
It's the
that he
build-up.
said.
Yep.
This is Wisdom of Solomon 12, verse 8. It says, nevertheless, even those thou sparest as men and did send wasps, which is a plague, forerunners of thine host, to destroy them by little and little.
By little and
It's
little.
the
man.
buildup. Little things accumulate, and that's the buildup, man.
The plagues leading up to the Exodus.
Yep.
That was a build up.
Right.
It went from annoying to uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
to death.
Right.
Build up.
That's right. Yep.
Let's go.
That was it on that one.
All right.
Matthew chapter 24 and verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet.
And I'm saying within that same thing, while you seeing these things come to pass, you getting excited because the prophecies coming to pass. you're getting a little bit nervous because you know you need to make sure you stay on point. You know what I'm saying? It's a build up with you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? We say it all the time, bro. The zeal that we have on these highways and the byways now, we hope that it's 100-fold when it counts, right? You got to be built up and rooted. That's what the scriptures say. That's a progression. They don't have it overnight. Even the people, it will say, even the men that come in at the 11th hour, they still got to do something. They ain't just gonna, it ain't no snap it to a Slim Jim type of thing. Now the Lord can do that, but that's what I'm saying. We just gonna have to see.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Go ahead.
This is Sirach chapter 18, verse 20. Before judgment, examine thyself, and in the day of visitation, thou shalt find mercy.
Before judgment, examine yourself. At least we know judgment coming. Right. How you gonna examine yourself if you don't even know judgment coming?
Right.
You have to do whatever you got going.
That's right.
You know, just like old boy, the parable where the dude was talking about he was gonna take that, tear down all his barns and rebuild them, and then the Lord was like, "Nah, fool, I require your soul tonight." You know what I'm saying? How you gonna do all that when you finna go sit by me?
Right.
You know, you finna sit on the bench, homie. No, you ain't finna do none of that. You know?
That's these people's mindset, man. They believe that all these places gonna go on forever. Yep. Hey, but how about Shai got another thing coming for?
Right. And the prophecies is your measuring stick.
Right.
Go ahead.
Right. Jumping down to verse 24. Think upon the wrath that shall be at the end, and the time of vengeance when he shall turn his face away. And you brought up the point earlier, going into like even you know us knowing he's about to come, we still got to think about the wrath of the Lord, man. The scripture saying in 2 Corinthians the 5th chapter, going into through the terror of the Lord, you persuade men. Every day you walk on the earth, you're thinking about the terror of the Lord, and that persuades you more and more to believe every day. That's that build-up process that he was going into right there. Self-examination before the great day. That build-up every day you're gonna think about, dang, did I do this? Did I do that wrong? Okay, I believe I'm doing this right, but I want to work on this.
And then repent anyway.
Exactly.
Even if you examine yourself and you don't find nothing wrong, repent anyway.
Right.
I'm just saying, man, why not?
Because you're wrapped in sinful flesh. You're wrapped in this bullshit.
Yeah. I don't care if you had the most righteous day you ever had in your life.
Yeah.
The next day you better repent.
Absolutely. That's real talk.
I got you.
Yeah.
Sirach chapter 19 and 18. The fear of the Lord, Yahweh Shem Shai, is the first step to be accepted of him.
I got you. Okay.
And wisdom obtaineth his love. Right. Hey, like the scripture say, hey, the first step to get close to Yahweh Shem Shai is fearing the Lord, man. All right. Fearing the Lord is gonna keep you walking in a certain way, in a certain path throughout your life, man.
That's right.
You know, the scriptures talk about being not hearers of the word only, but doers, man. You know?
Knowing what time you in, man. Right? Being occupied with prophecy.
Right.
That's how you know. What's that, Sirach 39?
Yeah, Sirach 39.
Get that Sirach 39 and 1 real quick.
Yep.
You got something, bro?
Yeah, I got that Sirach.
Okay, go ahead. Bring that out.
This is the Sirach, also known as Ecclesiasticus 39 and 1.
Oh, hold on real quick. What the Lord told me, you can understand the weather, you can understand the time being.
Oh, that's enough.
Get that. Go ahead.
It says, but he that giveth his mind to the law of the Most High, and is occupied in the meditation thereof, will seek out the wisdom of all the ancients.
The wisdom of all the ancients, the prophets, they wrote these words down, right? Go ahead.
And be occupied in prophecy.
And being occupied in the spirit of Yahweh Shai.
That's right.
Being occupied in the spirit of the testimony of Yahweh Shai, which is prophecy, right? Matter of fact, get Sirach 24 and 33.
That's it. Yeah, I got you.
Get that real quick. Let's get that real quick, because we don't want to just say it. You know what I'm saying? We're saying it because the Bible's saying it, not the other way around.
Right.
You see?
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 24, and you just want to go into the doctrine of prophecy, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to start at verse 30 and read down.
To the end, yep.
It says, Sirach 24 and 30, I also came out as a brook from a river and as a conduit into a garden, which is wisdom.
Yep.
It says, I said, I will water my best garden, and I will abundantly my garden bed. And lo, my brook became a river, and my river became a sea. All right. I will yet make doctrine to shine as the morning.
I will yet make doctrine, right? Doctrine to shine as the morning. Go ahead.
And I will send forth, Salakia, and I will send forth her light afar off.
That doctrine, that light is this word, right? The spirit of truth. Go ahead.
I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy.
I will pour out doctrine as prophecy. Who is he pouring out doctrine as prophecy to? The
Right.
prophets.
Absolutely.
Right? The Lord will do nothing. He revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets.
Right. That's right.
Right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
If I may, that's why you also read it in John the 7th chapter. What did the Lord say? He that believeth on me, as the scripture saith,
right,
out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Right.
And we read it earlier.
No. I'm just saying that's a precept.
God, and we read it earlier going into the true testimony of Yahweh Shai. So he said, out of thy belly shall flow rivers of living water. That was going to be prophecy pouring. And that's being fulfilled right now before your eyes, and y'all don't even know.
Right.
You know?
Via the 37th chapter of Ezekiel.
That's right. That's right.
Y'all got that precept about the
There's a little left on this.
All right, yeah.
It says in verse 33.
Oh, yeah, finish that.
I will yet pour out doctrine as prophecy and leave it to all ages forever.
And leave it to all ages forever, including this age that we in right here at this particular junction. Go ahead.
It says, behold, that I have not labored for myself only.
I have not labored for myself only. That's right. He got into these prophecies for who? Go ahead.
It says, but for all them that seek wisdom.
But for all them that seek wisdom, man. So the spirit of truth being on the prophets to be able to understand these things and break these things down is not only for us, right? Somebody get John chapter 17 and 20 real quick to back this up.
And that's
17 and 20.
John chapter 17 and verse 20. And when he was demanded of the prophet of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of the Most High.
John 17.
Oh,
John 17 and 20.
John chapter 17 and verse 20. Neither pray I for these alone, but for them also which shall believe on me through their word.
Right. That's right.
You can elaborate on that.
Yeah. That's those that seek that wisdom. Hey, we read it earlier going into when he was told to write that book. I believe that was in 2nd Ezra, the 12th chapter. Going into to share that knowledge to, it's only for an exclusive audience. And then he continues to go into it in 2nd Ezra 14, which we still got held. Talks about all those books that he had written, and a certain number of them was given to everybody, but he said, hold these for a certain few that be like thee. And that's a small sanctuary, by the way, as well, man. And that also shows you that this word isn't given to everybody. The Lord didn't come for everybody. It's a small cluster who was ordained to receive this wisdom within these scriptures and declare it boldly. That was it on that. You know what happened. So.
That's what's up.
Yeah. Matthew chapter 16 and verse 3. And in the morning it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red. And lowering, O ye hypocrites, you can discern the face of the sky, but you cannot discern the signs of the times.
That's what I'm saying. You can discern the face of the sky, but you can't discern the signs of the times.
That's right.
You got all these people that know everything, but you don't know you at the end of the word.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You know everything. They got an answer for every single thing. You ask them what's gonna happen at the end of the word, they don't got nothing for you.
They don't know.
Right? And this is including them so-called experts and the elites. They only know so much. Right? Because he only gives his secrets to his servants, the prophets. Right? You know, the Lord didn't give his secrets to his enemies. Who does that?
Hey, where's that written down in Corinthians? I will use the foolish things to confound the wise. I'll find it.
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead.
This is Colossians chapter 1, starting at verse 25. Whereof I am made a minister according to the dispensation of the Most High, which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of the Most High. Even the mystery which hath been hid from ages.
Even the mystery that had been hid ages, right? The mystery was hidden. That's why don't nobody know, because it was hidden. And anytime you know something that somebody don't know, they get hot about it. You know what I'm saying? We telling you what you wondering about, we know. Right? And when we tell you what it is, look, you don't gotta like the answer. But you ask me.
Right.
If you ask me, we're gonna answer according to the scriptures and tell you what it is. What you do with the answer has nothing to do with me.
Right.
Whether you get riled up, whatever it does to your spirit, it doesn't have nothing to do with me. I'm just a vessel that delivered that information.
Right.
Right? Go ahead.
This, I'll reread verse 26 again. Even the mystery which hath been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints.
It's now made manifest to his saints, man. We believe we those saints.
That's right.
We believe we those saints. Because according to the prophecies, everything that was said to have happened through diligence and through seeking and through the spirit of understanding, all these things happen. Just like how we talked about Peter in the whole David situation. Oh shit, that was talking about Judas?
Epiphany.
Right? Oh shit, this talking about the missiles and stuff. Oh shit. This talking about the Khomeini. Oh, the Russians is God. Oh snap. You know? Yeah. And all of it come together. And you get addicted to it. Right? And you run, he that runneth readeth it, man. You see? Not in warp speed. Not in warp speed, but through diligence, man.
That's right. If I could say this also, with it being hidden is what? When the Lord said what? Ye are not my, alluding to Hosea 1 and verse 9. You are not my people. The Lord was vexed with the nation of Yashua. That's why it was prophesied we go into slavery over here, bro. That's why why was it hidden? Well, you got something called the BDG, the Bible Destruction Group. You have something called the Slave Bible. So that's how these things also were hidden. You have the Slave Bible, you have the Bible Destruction Group, and first and foremost, the Most High was vexed with his people. You are not my people.
Right.
So if I ain't rocking with you and I got all the info, bro, you ass out. And that's how the nation of Yasharallah has been until the Most High seen it to be okay. When the 1900s came, early 1900s came, Jake started turning back to them scriptures. Jake started, man, I think this is talking about us. I think this is talking about us. Time kept passing. I think this is talking about us. Now, commandment keepers. Who was in the commandment keepers? Abba Bivens.
Right.
Okay. And through the Spirit, we know who he is. According to the Spirit, man. It was hidden. Okay. That's right.
Just a quick precept going into that, like just everything what you said, you know, that epiphany, man. That wow, man, we this, that, the third. Finding that right there. This is 2 Peter 3:1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. Okay?
Go ahead, read that again, Salaki.
Yeah, it's all good. It says, this second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you. And even going into this, when you read it earlier in the first epistle, in the first chapter, he's directing both of those epistles to those scattered Israelites. And he said it, man. So that's another clue that shows you that this was only meant to be poured unto the Israelites, namely those that were prophesied to be scattered here within these latter days.
Right.
It says, this second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, in both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance.
Remembrance by going through the history, going through the scrolls. You know what I'm saying? And now what we can do, we can get that in the break it down of the planet. Cause dog gonna read, you can break it down.
Okay. Oh, come on.
Where you starting at?
14.
Yeah.
14. You can start around like what verse? 5, 6, 7.
Yeah. 5. Verse 5.
What is that?
And told him many wonders.
You can start at the top.
Okay. Bet. Come. This is 2nd Ezra, chapter 14, starting at verse 1.
And earlier we read, measuring the times. All the stuff is written in a book. Remember this also too for you newer listeners. Right here, when you read this here in 2nd Ezra, the 14th chapter, this is going into a span of time. The mystery that Ezra had received from the Heavenly Father, man. All right, so this is a nugget that's getting ready to be read, that we have this knowledge, man.
That's right.
All right, this clearly shows you that we are at the very end.
That's right.
Go ahead, bro.
And it came to pass upon the 3rd day, I sat under an oak, and behold, there came a voice out of a bush over against me and said, Esdras. Verse 2. And I said, here am I, Lord. And I stood up upon my feet. Then said he unto me, in the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses.
So he's receiving a super nugget right here. The only other person in history that the Lord came to in this way was Moses in a bush. Go ahead.
I'll read verse 3. Then said he unto me, in the bush I did manifestly reveal myself unto Moses, and talked with him when my people served in Egypt. And I sent him and led my people out of Egypt, and brought him up to the mount of where I held him by me a long season.
A long season, and that long, how long was Moses off Mount Sinai for, Shafar? 40 days and 40 nights. 40 days and 40 nights. That's that long season.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? and he was supping. We talked about it in class last Saturday, going into that 40 days, something about that. Yahweh Shai was with those men after the resurrection for 40 days. You know, so he was receiving a lot of information that was up there. So Ezra is receiving a chunk of information right here, man. All right, getting his mind blown. You can't name too many prophets that an archangel continued to come down and sup with. You know,
he was super obedient.
He was very obedient, bro.
Whatever the angel told him to do,
man,
he did it.
He was with it,
and they just kept pouring into him, man.
Absolutely. Go over there and fast for 7 days and eat these flowers.
I'm telling you, he did just that.
Just that, man. He received it. Top shelf information. You got it, bro.
Verse 5, and told him many wondrous things, and showed him the secrets of the times and the end, and commanded him, saying.
So he showed him the secrets of the end, right? Wondrous things. So he's literally about to give us a secret right here what's about to be read, man.
To his servants, the prophets.
To his servants, the prophets. That's right, man. But the only way to really, truly understand it and receive it is if you're measuring the times.
Right.
If you're not measuring the times, you ain't going to get it. It's going to flow right over your head, man.
That's right.
Which is the spirit of prophecy anyway.
Yep, and the spirit of truth.
That's right. That's right.
Verse 6, these words shalt thou declare, and these shalt thou hide.
Same thing we've been reading, declaring and hiding.
Yep.
You know, and all things are being declared unto us, though. Yep. The Lord revealed his secrets unto his servants, the prophets.
Yep.
And the things that are hidden are stumbling blocks to the wicked.
That's right. That's right. Straight up. Yeah, come on.
Verse 7, and now I say unto thee, that thou lay up in heart the signs that I have showed, and the dreams that thou hast seen.
Yeah, real talk. Hey, real talk. No, he just said it. Like, literally meditate on this, man.
This is what I need you to focus on right now.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. And the interpretations which thou hast heard.
And that's where'd he hear it from? The scrolls, the prophecies, all those different men that were writing those things down. You know, and he said the interpretation, meaning there was going to be one interpretation on this, man.
That's right.
Everybody can talk about there's many truths where certain people break the Bible down different ways. That's false, man. There's only one true understanding, one baptism, man.
That's right.
That's the interpretation, one interpretation, man. One mind.
There's no private interpretation.
No private interpretation.
This 1 Corinthians, I'm going to start at verse 9. 1 Corinthians in verse 9, God, the Most High is faithful.
You chapter 1?
Oh yeah, chapter 1. Okay. The Most High is faithful, by whom you were called unto the fellowship of his Son, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, our Lord. Now I beseech you, brethren, by the name of our Lord, Yahweh Shai Mashiach, that ye all speak the same thing, and that there be no divisions among you, but that ye be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment.
Right. So that right there shows you there's only going to be one breakdown, man.
Yeah.
That's a unity camp.
That's a unity camp right there, man.
Yeah.
You know? And it's funny, too, because we got it in Ezra anyway, and we're going to pull it up, but he goes into a certain cluster of people that were going to be joined together with Yahweh Shai in the latter days, man.
Bro, this is a unity camp.
That's right.
We all speak the same thing. You see?
Yep.
You got your own page where you do your works. You do. So do you. This brother. You know what I'm saying?
That's right, bro.
So this is a unity camp right here.
Yep.
You have a unity camp. We have a unity camp Tuesday, Friday.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
That's right, bro.
Go ahead.
Verse 9, back in 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 9. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son.
That's the joint. That's the unification, man. The breakdown is going to be given to a certain people that were going to be joined together with his son. It's funny, we talked about this at class last Saturday when we read Ephesians, how Yahweh Shai went through all those things so we could sit in those heavenly places.
That's right.
You know, his passion. That's right. And then the next chapter in Ephesians 2 goes into how we were woken up by that breath, and it says that we were joined together to sit in the heavenly places. So we're all joined together in this one particular knowledge, man, and we have that one particular interpretation. All right, one particular interpretation of prophecy. All right, true doctrine, by the way, which it was prophesied to pour out, man. It said the stream was going to turn to a river. The river was going to turn to, the brook was going to turn to a river. The river was going to turn to a sea. It's going to be poured abundantly, man. No matter how we look, no matter how tattered somebody's garment might be, how people call us bums, whatever the case is, the true breakdown is going to be brought out here, man, by lowly men.
Just on the side note, guess what? America's producing bums. How about that?
Straight up.
With the current economic situation. How about that? Y'all producing bums.
Right.
I'll continue reading. This is back in verse 9. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son.
And what does it mean when it say taken away from all? Does that mean like you're going to just disappear? No, but your mind is going to be open. You're going to start seeing your family as demons. These holidays are whack as hell. You're going to run, literally, he that runneth, that readeth it. You know, you're going to completely repent and turn away from that old man. You know, it's a mentality.
Being renewed in the spirit of your mind, man, right? That's rich.
That's right, absolutely. That's right, man. Beautiful.
What's that, Ephesians 4? I get it.
I got one.
Because you only got, brother, you only have to have a different Masalaki, bro. I was thinking about, I was going to say this. You only have to have a different mind in order for Yahweh to sit amongst you, man.
That's right.
Like, that's a great honor. Right. You know, he said, those that be like thee and with my son. You can't be that old nigga and sit together with his son. Right. All right, he says, you shall sit up and be raised to sit together in heavenly places, man. That heavenly places is this knowledge. The kingdom of heaven is within. Understanding the breakdowns, the interpretation.
I got you real quick.
Come.
This is Ephesians chapter 4, verse 21. It says, if so be that ye have heard him and have been taught by him, as the truth is in Yahweh Shai, that ye put off concerning the former conversation, the old man,
right,
which is corrupt according to the deceitful lusts, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind, and that ye put on the new man, after which Yahweh is created in righteousness and true holiness, man.
That's right.
Right? That's a complete overhaul.
That's right. That's right. You had a precept for him?
It was just to back up the other one we brought out. Romans chapter 6 and verse 6. Knowing that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed.
And that's those that are sitting together that are like Ezra. All right, Yahweh Shai's crucifixion, man. Our old man was killed and nailed to his impales, man, with those stakes. You know what I'm saying? That goes into our sins. You got to be a new man being within this thing. And that's what he's telling Ezra right here. When you read this here, he's talking to Ezra, but he's also talking to us. You know, there's a particular game, so like y'all, you know, I'm a little nerd, man. It's a game called Assassin's Creed. And within that game, there's a machine that you sit on, and they plug it up to you, and it literally traces you back all the way to the point where you're controlling one of your ancestors. You know what I'm saying? And certain events in that game is cutscenes where you're talking to these divine beings that come down, and they like, look, and they say his name, but they say the person's name that's in the future sitting on that machine right there. You know, if you get where I'm getting at. So what we're thinking about it, that's how these scriptures are to us. We're reading about our forefathers. We're reading about who we could have possibly been or not, whatever it is. This knowledge that we have is literally set for us today. That's what we read it earlier. This knowledge, the vision is yet for an appointed time, but the end it shall speak. When we read these, we have to remember, not that we don't, but just a reminder, this is talking to us today as well, man.
You should look up that word speak. At the end it shall speak and not lie.
No, that's a good point. See what come up. Gone, straight up. Straight up.
See what come up.
Bottom of verse 6. I'm gonna restart 6. Knowing that our old man is crucified with him, that the body of sin might be destroyed, that henceforth we should not serve sin, for he that is dead is free from sin spiritually. Now if we be dead with Hamashiach, we believe that we shall also live with him.
That's right. That's right. That's those heavenly places, man. In order to sit in those heavenly places, you have to be renewed as a man. All right? And it's a daily process as well. All right? But you still got to repent from evil. And you got to be sincere, man. Like David, being after the Most High's heart. The intention, you know? You got it, man.
All right, this, the word is Pawak. Pawak, to breathe, blow, breathe, to cause to exhale, or breathe, to puff, snort, to excite, inflame, right? To breathe out, to utter. Yeah.
To utter, that goes back to the word oracles.
Yep. And that's the word for speak.
That means that's oracles, man. That's the oracles, bro. That's the prophecies.
Hold on, check this out.
That's crazy.
I think I got one more for you.
Man.
I got one more for you.
Hey, while you're looking, just to go into that, what you just read right there too, bro. We read Revelation 19 going into the spirit of prophecy. Yep. That word spirit in the Greek is pneuma, which means breath. Yep. So speaking right there goes into the prophecy, man. You know, the breath.
All right, this is Genesis 49, the last days. You got I'm gonna go into the word last days first, right? You got day, lifetime, time period, today, yesterday, tomorrow, as a division of time, right? Time, day, year, that's for day. All right, and then we can get last. All right, Akaraya, right? It says latter time, prophetic future. So in the last days, in the last days, this is what's gonna happen to the nation of Israel, right? To the 12 sons of Jacob, right? We getting into the end of the age of the planet, so now you know that enough things have happened in the planet to where you can start looking for what's gonna happen to Israel in the last days. Getting into what's gonna happen with the tribes, who the enemy is, being the self-proclaimed white man who is Esau, the dragon. How's he gonna do it? Chasai stigma. All these things have come together now, right? All these things have come together now. And when we get on these cameras and tell you that, it's through sincerity and truth. Because we believe that the sins have been unlocked, because when other people go into these things that we've gone into, they come up empty. It don't make no sense.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right. A Christian will tell you Revelation is still closed. They'll say the book is still closed, the vision is closed on that.
Right. And so in the meantime, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna do me.
Right. Exactly.
You see? Did we finish that in second Ezra? Let's finish that. Let's finish that. I don't know. Oh shit.
Yeah, we're chilling that. I'm chilling.
Let's do this.
This is.
I was worried about time.
I'm gonna tell you that.
Yeah, this is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 9. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee.
Unity camp.
Yep. Until the times be ended.
Until the times be ended, man. All right. Now it's gonna go into those times, because we was told to measure the times. He went into literally all the stuff that's happening, and you see what's taking place, you know? So now he's about to go in and show you that we are indeed at the very end. Like literally, like the Lord could come back this year, bro.
Man.
That close.
Because it's times that say the Lord told us to pray for fewer days.
Right, that's right, bro.
It also says that if the Lord don't come back, it ain't gonna be nobody left to save.
Right, that's right.
It's moving that fast right now.
Bro, this happened quick.
Super quick.
We was not wearing masks around this time last year, bro.
Nah.
Verse 10. For the world hath lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old.
Lost his youth, man. And it ain't talking about billions neither, man. And it ain't obviously that like the little earth is getting old, it's gonna fall apart. No, it's going into the things that are happening on the earth.
It's been through a lot.
It's been through a lot. That's right. Yeah. That's right. Wickedness has exceedingly polluted the whole earth.
Bro, that's what when we was talking about it in Genesis chapter 2. When it goes into the world, the earth was created for all these things to happen.
That's right.
It's like an obstacle course for the Israelites. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We saw the beauty of the creation, right? We saw what the earth looks like in corrupt hands.
Yep.
Had a glimpse of what it looked like in righteous hands, right? All these different things, right? You got the flood, the deluge.
Yeah, the deluge. The deluge.
You know what I'm saying? And now you got this whole you got the second phase, which is gonna be the missiles, right? Did not the flood cleanse the earth? What is this? What these missiles gonna do? It's gonna cleanse the earth, right? To get it refreshed for the next phase, right? So with us being in this, going into this chapter, going into this 2nd Ezra 14, is letting you know that according to what's documented in the scriptures, this is where we are right now. You got it, bro?
I thought I was buying that first. I was like, hell yeah, bro, I'm coming to it.
I did too.
Go ahead, bro.
This is back in 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already.
And those parts are dispositions of time.
That's right.
It's not like the world is divided into parts, like looking at it like time zones. That's not what it's talking about. These parts are units of time, spans of 1,000 years, 1,000 eons, ages. That's right. You know, when you look at the age of the earth right now is roughly 12, 13,000 years old, man. And that's according to Esau's time, but really according to the Most High, as he set it up, 12 parts. That's right. Okay, because, you know, Esau added days and did all these things, different calendars. You know what I'm saying? You got it, bro.
And half of a 10th part.
Oh, you already read about the 10th part? Can you,
yeah,
read that
I'll read
previous part again?
Verse 11. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already.
It said the 10 parts of it are gone already. Right. Now, this is around the time of Ezra. All right, you know what kingdom Ezra was prophesying when he was judging in? That was during the Medo-Persian Empire, absolutely. You know, that was during that time. It was right before the Greeks, so this is roughly around 4th century BC, 4th century BCE. So around that time, it says a 10th part and a half part has already passed. This is 4th century BC, bro. The earth lost its youth then. How much more so now? Go ahead.
Come. And half of a 10th part.
And half of a 10th part. So that's 10.5 thousand years already passed. When we already have an understanding, the earth is already divided into 12 parts. So if it was 10.5 parts that was already gone 2,400 years ago, you fast forward now, go ahead.
Come. Verse 12. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part.
So then you have 400 years that passed after that. Yahushua came. The last hour, pretty much. That's what Yahweh, that's what we always say. That was the start of the last days.
Yep.
You know, and then you got the apostles, the acts of all of that, the falling away that has to happen first. Yep. And Paul said, us going over to Egypt, Deuteronomy 28, all the way up to waking up right now in the latter days, prophesying that America's going to be destroyed, bro. Right. This is literally prophecy, man. The Heavenly Father sent us out here to tell y'all that America about to fall and burn the hell up, man.
That's right. I was thinking when you get into Ezekiel chapter 37, Ezekiel chapter 37, it gives you a build-up from the dry bones being awakened all the way to the kingdom.
That's right. It sure does.
All the way into the kingdom. You know, but it's a progression. Right. So part of that progression is the dry bones being awakened to the point to where Revelation 12 and 12 got to take place to where this devil got to see that he only got a short time. That's right? Because it's originally going into 70 AD, but when you fast forward to now, you got that progression. Right? We had 70 AD had to happen in order for Revelation 12 and 12 to be fast forward. It's a progression. Always a build-up. And how do you get it built up? Through these scriptures, man. It's letting you know. It go through all those beasts. It go through all that stuff, man. Right?
Oh, back verse 13. Back in 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 13.
Remember, y'all, you know what I'm saying? This is like a secret the Lord is telling Ezra in the bush. You know? That's what people walking around, you know what I'm saying? Don't get it. But this right here is a nuclear nugget right here, man. Like, this is like the bush, the flame of fire in the bush talking to us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a nuclear nugget right here, bro. You know?
Verse 13. Now therefore set thine house in order.
And you know what it does? It eliminates that millions and billions of years theory, man.
That's right.
To see what it is, Esau can say, well, that happened billions of years ago with no documentation or no proof of it, which allows them to do that in the future. Well, no, that ain't gonna happen for millions of years. So we can just do what we want to do now. You see? Like all these millions of years you look at from back then to millions of years into the future. It leaves no room for you to say, no, nigga, you finna get your ass whooped.
Dougie fresh on that hoe.
You see?
They out there Dougieing it up, bro. I'm serious. I got a quick precept for you real quick.
Okay.
This the book of Matthew, chapter 24. Oh shit, I just had it. My bad, y'all. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and dang it, my bad, y'all. I'm tripping. Oh, here we go. My bad. Yeah. This is Matthew 24 and 7. Matter of fact, bugging out, man. I'm talking about eating and drinking and giving it to marriage. What verse is that?
Is it the days of Noah?
Yeah.
Like
36, 37. Oh, I'm tripping. Okay. This is Matthew 24 and 38. It says 37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Right.
For in those days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving it to marriage.
Right.
Until the day that Noah entered into the ark. and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah, and we're going into the span of time. We're literally at the very end right now, and people still chilling, living it up, making plans for the future for America, man. The brother brought up the precept and mentioned it earlier, going into, you know, the wind, you know, the weather, and all of that. You can discern all these different things.
But you can't discern that it ain't finna get back to normal?
Bro, people are literally thinking 2021, like soon as they're gonna be waiting there at the clock. 3, 2, 1, take that mask off. It's back to normal. It don't work like that, man.
Ain't gonna be now since better days. Better days.
Yeah.
Hey, better days. Nope. That's why I say if you think 2020 was bad, you really finna get punched in the mouth.
Man, that check really coming.
Yeah, you really finna get punched in the mouth. I'm talking about they gonna wait until you about to bite down on your hamburger and punch you in the fucking mouth.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You the waiting shit.
I'm telling you, your
right,
mouth gonna be wide open. Go ahead.
2 Ezra chapter 8 and verse 50. For many great miseries shall be done to them that in the latter time shall dwell in the world, because they have walked in great pride.
And pride is a blinder, bro. Pride is a blinder, man. Pride will have you believing that you right when you a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying?
Pride will have you thinking you can chip the whole world.
That's right.
And taint the Lord's pride.
Yep.
You see, the whole thing about the microchip and implanting it inside you is to say to the Most High, yeah, I got your girl, what you gonna do? That's what that's equivalent to. You see? Especially when your girl volunteers. You see? When you get Deuteronomy, get Deuteronomy 22. Get Deuteronomy 22 real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Verse?
You can finish 22 or 28. Get into the what happened with the when the damsel that cries out.
Okay.
Yeah, let's get when the damsel cries out.
Yeah, I want. This is to back up what that brother just read. This is Ecclesiasticus chapter 10, verse 7. Pride is hateful before the Most High and man, and by both doeth one commit iniquity. So, by being proud, you're gonna get your ass destroyed, man. It's not of Yahweh Shem Yahshua to be prideful, man. What do you have to be proud of, man? You see people, homes destroyed in Arlington the other night from the tornado.
Right before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing told some stuff up.
Yeah.
All Jake.
All Jake. You sitting there, people looking crazy as hell with mask on. Jake, something happened in Atlanta that I was looking at. Yeah. Somebody got shot at a Thanksgiving dinner, man. You know what I'm saying? You had you've been having people getting pulled out their homes, man. Getting pulled out their homes before Thanksgiving night. So man, it's going down, man. You know, a lot of our people really do think when Sleepy Joe and Kamala takes the office, which I don't, through the spirit, I don't think Sleepy Joe gonna be in there. I don't see Trump leaving, but if he do, the devil's gonna be a devil and the prophecy gonna continue, man. You know?
That's right. I got that quick one going into the damsel.
All right.
This is Deuteronomy chapter 22, and I'm gonna start at verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her and lie with her,
Esau, right? Edom. We're gonna start calling. We can call him I too. We can switch it to I. See how long it takes to catch it on the algorithm. We can say I for Idumea. Yeah.
It says, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
All right.
But unto the damsel thou shalt do nothing. There is in the damsel no sin worthy of death.
Right.
For as when a man riseth against his neighbor and slayeth him, even so is this matter. For he found her in the field.
Right.
And the betrothed damsel cried.
And the betrothed damsel cried, we that betrothed damsel.
That's right.
No, you can't put no chip in me. No, we already spoken for.
That's right.
We already taken. No, we the Lord's bride. We don't want this chip in us. You see, to the point to where it's gonna be forced on you. To the point to where it's gonna be forced on you.
Right.
Right? You gonna take this chip.
Yeah.
Right? They gonna force it. But that's no. Adam gonna save Eve this time.
Right.
It's prophesied for Adam to save Eve this time.
That's right.
Adam being Yahweh Shai, Eve being the elect of the nation of Israel.
That's right.
But that's a whole nother lesson.
That's right.
You see? Adam is going to prevail this time.
Absolutely.
You see? Period, point blank.
Yep. He already prevailed.
That's what I'm saying. And that man that's trying to rape the woman is gonna be destroyed.
That's right.
That's right.
You see, that's the dispensation of the time that we in right now.
That's right.
That's adultery.
Right.
You know,
right.
Yashiala is, hey.
Matter of fact, go to the verse where it talk about both of them die, because a lot of our people gonna spread them legs, and they gonna take that chip.
Yeah.
So let's get that.
That's right.
Let's get it when both of them get put to death.
That's right.
Let's make sure we get that, because that's a possibility too.
That's right.
Right?
I got you. This is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 21. It says, "Then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house." Hold on. What?
Yeah, start up at like 21, 20, something like that.
Oh yeah, well okay. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just read the whole thing.
The whole chapter?
No.
Oh, just verse 21.
Yeah, it give you all three scenarios.
Okay. You know what? So
start at Genesis chapter 1. At the beginning.
I know, right? I'm gonna start at verse 16.
Okay.
It says, "And the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hateth her. And lo, he hath given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not thy daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity. And they shall spread the cloth over the elders of the city.
Right.
And the elders of the city shall take the man and chastise him, and they shall amends him in 100 shekels of silver, and give them to the father of the damsel, because he hath brought an evil upon the name upon the virgin of Israel, and she shall be his wife, and he may not put her always in his days." And that's if she's not betrothed to nobody.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's that scenario right there.
But we are betrothed.
Right.
Right? So we're going to get into that.
Verse 20. "But if this thing be true, and the tokens of virginity be not found for the damsel, then they shall bring out the damsel to the door of her father's house, and the men of her city shall stone her with stones, that she die, because she hath wrought folly in Israel to play the whore in her father's house. So shalt thou put evil away from among you."
All right, go ahead.
"If a man be found lying with a woman married to an husband,
right,
then both of them shall die."
Boom. Right?
"Both the man that lay with the woman and the woman, so shalt thou put away evil from Israel."
That's what I'm saying, man. You got to, if the female and the male is with it, both of them got to go. Right? So 2/3 of the nation of Israel is going to be destroyed with this devil, man.
That's right. They didn't cry.
Right? And the virgin and the betrothed damsel, they cried out. They said, no, absolutely not. Hell no. Right? Those are the ones that's going to be delivered. Period, point blank. And the culprit dies.
That's right.
We want to be found blameless. Just like the story of Susanna. We don't got to get it, but you can get into the story of Susanna to get another account of that going on. Right? Susanna was that damsel that cried out.
Right.
And she was delivered at the end when she was put on trial. Right?
Right.
Anybody else got somebody else got something?
Well, are you going to continue in this, right? Pretty much.
That's all I wanted on that.
Point on that.
Yeah,
I got you. For sure. Hey, while they're looking for that, if I may, just going into that point that you made, because us crying out is letting the world know not to take the RFID chip.
Yeah.
You know, we telling you the vaccination's coming before. Don't take that neither. But we crying out because the thing about it is when you go, because it's ironic, it's going into marriage right here, and sex consummates marriage.
That's right.
And when you go into sex, that word sex literally means to cut. You know, and you're inserting, obviously we know the process of sex and how it works. But when you go into that, that's also like a covenant that's being made. All right, that's why you're supposed to give that father that particular dowry if you lay with that daughter, because you're making a covenant with that household. Right. So when you look at it in a spiritual standpoint, going into what Esau plans on doing with the virgin's crying out isn't going to be inserted. That chip ain't going to enter into them, because that is a covenant that's being made at the end of the day. Yep. And if you make that covenant with Satan, and it's that act of cutting, because you go into that word covenant in the Hebrew, that word is baryah, which means to cut. Right. So if you make that actual cutting and putting in that flesh, there's no way you can receive salvation. Right. Because you've already made a covenant with Satan, a covenant with death, pertaining to Isaiah 29. You know?
That's why through the Spirit, the word for cleave in the Lashon Kodash is debat, to cleave onto. So you become one with Yahweh Bashim Yashai. That's what we want. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of our like the elder was going into, a lot of our people gonna spread their legs. How they gonna spread their legs? Well, they gonna spread their legs by telling their congregation it's okay to take the chip. It's okay. It's okay to take the vaccine.
Right.
You want to sit there and floss your PayPal account all over the internet. Just
stupid as hell.
Right.
Which is stupid as hell. We all seen what happened to Comfort. But now he's in his right mind.
Yep.
Become Apostle Doctor, he's in his right mind now, right?
Awesome.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I know, right?
God,
I'm around to be under a rock somewhere and shit.
Yeah.
Think he did.
Yeah, he went he was in prison, right? And then died in there.
He's supposed to die from COVID.
Yeah, COVID, right?
In prison.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
Yeah. And you see how terrible that looked, man. And that's what the elder was going into. A lot of our people gonna spread their legs. We, on the other hand, no. We're gonna keep hitting that hand back, screaming, pulling the no. No means no, right?
No. Yep. No means no, man.
That's right.
Our nay is nay when it comes to that, man.
That's right.
Bring that yours?
Time to get these 2 points to back up the priest and the swan real quick. This is Jeremiah chapter 6 and verse 2. I have likened the daughter of Zion to a comely and delicate woman.
Right? A comely and delicate woman. That's why we always refer, that's why we always use spiritually. You got Eve representing Israel. You got the Marys in the New Testament that represent Israel, those women that the Lord had mercy on. Right? So on and so forth. Go ahead.
I got the second one in Isaiah real quick, Isaiah 54, to back up that Yahweh Shai is our husband, man. Isaiah 54 in verse 5, for thy maker is thine husband, Yahweh of hosts is his name.
Right.
And thy redeemer, the Holy One of Israel, thy power of the whole earth shall he be called.
That's why this is likened to a marriage as well. You know, the great marriage that's coming when Yahweh Shai comes back. All right, talks about that new name in Revelation. That new name is applying, it really ties to when we're totally joined together one with Yahweh Shai with those new bodies. All right, we're literally gonna have his vibration on us, man. Now we are betrothed right now. And when you go into that word betrothed, like we read in Deuteronomy 22, if a damsel be betrothed, when you go into that betrothal, that means being promised to a man. Now obviously the Most High is our maker, but we was cast off for a period of time. Yahweh Shai brought us back. But we're waiting to receive that new body so we can have that name. All right, like when that marriage takes place, the damsel takes the name of that person that she's marrying, the bridegroom.
Yeah.
So the same thing's going to happen with us, man. All right, Lord's willing, we're up that number. All right, but that's why it likens that day to a marriage, man, to a banquet, to a ceremony. All right, because Israel and the Most High are being brought back, and that's by unification of Yahweh Shai and the elect being brought back together.
Right, saying what the Lord put together, let no man take asunder.
That's right.
You see?
That's
Now,
right.
don't say the dopest duo ever created was Adam and Eve, man. Right? Because Adam, who was Yahweh Shai, had perfection with the law, statutes, and commandments, and Eve was supposed to be their helpmeet to where they could rule the planet. You see? And that union is being reconciled through the sacrifice that Yahweh Shai made.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And we at the dispensation of time to where that union is very close.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
With the Lord saving us out of Egypt and giving us the laws, statutes, and commandments, that solidified that marriage.
Yeah. Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And then on the contrary end, you got those foolish versions that are going to open their legs, all right, and they're going to cry out when it's too late, but you've already been touched. So the door is closed from you because you were foolish, man.
And they're twerking
Yeah,
and
Revelation
everything.
13. That's why I was toward that.
I was saying, once you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
You can't say I didn't let him finish. You let him in.
That's right.
It ain't about you letting him finish, you let him in, you know?
You done drunk the Kool-Aid, which is that potion, and now your thigh
Yeah,
rotting out,
Revelation.
man.
All right, let's get into this mark of the beast
I got
real
it right
quick.
here, buddy. You got it?
Looks like 15.
You can start at 14. 14 or 15? Yeah.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 14, in deceiving them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which had power to do in the sight of the beast.
Right? Those miracles, going into the technology, all the different things that Esau can do. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get into the Chi-Psi stigma, which what we're about to get into, you know what I'm saying? The breakdown of the Chi-Psi stigma is you got the Chi, which is that X. When you go into Christmas and all that, they X out the Messiah. You see, the staff of Asclepius is the Chi, which is Chi-Psi. You see, going into the medical. So they're gonna X out the Messiah, right? And they're gonna give you eternal life through medicine. But for you to be down, for you to show that you're down with this philosophy, you got to take that chip. So that's the stigma, right? So Chi-Psi stigma. They're going to X out the Messiah and give you eternal life through their medicine via the microchip. Pretty much is what it's going into, right? And these things have been revealed to his servants, the prophets, right? So let's get it.
Middle of verse 14, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast.
Right? Because it's a difference. You got the beast, you got the image, you got the mark, right? The beast, EU, NATO, this whole system, the power structure, right? The image. The image is the philosophies and the way of life and the whole bit, right? And then the mark is the chip. You got to be able to break down all three. You see, the man with understanding knows all three, and all those things. We're in a dispensation of time where all those things are very visible through the Spirit. All right, go ahead.
Bottom of verse 14, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
See, right now we in the part of the build-up to where it's looking convenient. You know what I'm saying? You can still get people to volunteer, right? But then it's gonna get to the point to where you got the believers that's not gonna be with that. You got that damsel that's not gonna cry out, and you got that damsel that's gonna cry out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Go ahead. Matter of fact, get Revelation 3 and 10 real quick.
And that image right there also too goes to everything that we see that this beast created.
Right.
Which the beast is NATO in the EU. All right. Which really start with them Chaldeans. All right, but pretty much this illusion that they have right here, this matrix,
right.
All right, Catholic Church, all this BS that you see out here, the witchcraft medical field, that's all the image of the beast, and these people are conformed unto that image, man. Right. You know, just wanted to, go into that image real quick.
All right, get Revelation 3 and 10 real quick.
This is Revelation chapter 3, verse 10. Because thou hast kept thy word.
This is the time we're living in. Go ahead.
Of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation.
We're in the time of the hour of temptation, right?
That's right.
Go ahead.
Which shall come upon all the world.
Which shall come upon all the world. When you go into all right there, oikoumene. Everybody on the planet.
That's right.
Babies, old folks, all of it. Go ahead.
To try them that dwell upon the earth.
To try them that dwell upon the earth. I ain't hold that. Let's go back here.
Verse 6, Revelation 13 and 16, and he causes all, both small and great.
He calls it all, both small. Look at the word all right there. Look at the word all right there. You keep reading, you looking up. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? Go ahead, bro.
Verse 16 in Revelation chapter 13. And he causes all, both small and great.
He calls it all, both small and great. We just read in Revelation chapter 3 that it said everybody on the planet is going to be forced with the hour of temptation.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Rich and poor.
Rich and poor, right? Rich and poor.
Everybody.
Notice ain't no middle class.
Yep.
So obviously, that's insinuating that the middle class is going to be destroyed. Because it's going to be about rich and poor in that time.
Right.
Let's go.
Free and bond to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead.
In their right hand or in their foreheads, right? You got the whole Neuralink where they can put the chip in your head. You know what I'm saying? They can actually cure a quadriplegic, right? All these different things. Did not the Lord heal people that couldn't walk? Didn't he make people's eyes work they couldn't see? He started trying to do all these things that the Lord did 2,000 years ago. That's the miracles that we were talking about.
5%.
All those different things. All right, well, we got to hurry up then. Go ahead, bring out what you
We got it, but it's going to die soon.
Okay, this is that word all in Revelation 13 verse 16. It's in the Strong's 3956, and it's pas in the Greek. Outline biblical usage individually, each, every, any, all, the whole, everyone, all things, everything, collectively, some of all types.
So that big nations and small nations thing is cut right there.
Right.
It's going to be a personal decision.
Yeah.
You name it.
All right, now let's go ahead and finish this up.
Revelation chapter 13 and verse 17. And that no man might buy or sell.
No man might buy or sell. Go ahead.
Save that he had the mark.
The one in your hand or in your forehead.
Or
if you go to Revelation chapter 20 and 4, it says hands. So don't get stupid. Go ahead.
Exactly.
Or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
Go ahead.
18. Here's wisdom.
Here's wisdom.
Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast.
That's what I'm saying. Now, who else breaking it down like we just broke it down through the Spirit?
Nobody.
We believe we have that understanding.
That's right.
Count goes to measure as well.
You see? Go ahead.
What is the number of a man? And his number is 666.
Hey, man, don't take the microchip, man. Right? If you do, you do. It was written. If you don't, you don't. It was written. And with that, we want to give all praises to
Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash.
Double honors to the apostles and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the I can teach about the mind while my that's in sincerity and truth. Shalom.
Shalom.